Welcome back to Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Last time, we avoided getting caught between the pursuit and the ambush, which would have been the end of us all, and this time we've decided to head back and rescue our other comrades. Let's just hope this doesn't backfire badly. It easily could. Very easily. Chapter 7, Shades of Evil. Yeah, we might be meeting some fairly significant characters here. I'm surprised Soren didn't give this argument in the last chapter. And they did say they'd meet up with us back in Gallia, so that's probably the best place to go. Exactly. They are some of the strongest members of the company. They should be pretty fine. Huh. Some slight movement in an old abandoned fort. Could this be a trap? I forgot this fort even had a name. You might notice some treasure chests here. That's if we're not ambushed right about now. Of course it was a trap. Why would it not be a trap? Yep, that's a whole bunch of enemies. And already, we're starting the chapter. It's a pretty short cutscene, but that's because there are going to be a lot of much longer cutscenes later. So, we have our first indoors map, which aren't that different to outdoors maps in this game. We do have some treasure chests, and you might be wondering, what are we going to do about them since we don't have a thief? Well, some enemies will very kindly drop chest keys for us. That's kind of strange, seeing as this isn't really their fort, and, I don't know, they probably just found the keys lying around. I won't question it. So, we have another whole bunch of lance-using enemies, with some fighters mixed in, quite a few enemy armor knights too, so either the hammer or someone powerful like Titania is really going to help here. Some archers too. You might notice there's no boss on the map yet. That may change later. So, this is a route chapter, and there are quite a lot of enemies here. When I first saw the speedrun of this game, I was kind of confused as to how a speedrun would handle this map, but I actually managed to do it pretty quickly. No doubt thanks to Titania. Okay, now let's just quickly switch around some items. Obviously, that short spear. Yeah, so this thing has 12 weight. Only one more than a javelin, but it's still a little heavy for Oscar. I might give this to Titania for now. In which case, I might give the remaining hand axe to Boyd. I wonder if Titania should take the hammer. She could. Annoyingly, I would convoy the torch if we had a convoy, but we don't, so somebody has to take it. Guess I can give it to you. Okay, you have a second vulnerary, though, and Ike needs one. Might as well trade that over. Titania also has way too many vulneraries, so who has less of them? Boyd might as well take one. Okay, I think Boyd will keep the hammer. And yeah, you're just going to hold on to that iron blade for now. I'm not really going to get much use out of it. As for the bands that we currently have, I think we're okay with these bands. Although, yeah, Ike has enough strength. I think he needs to be getting more skill and speed, so I'm fine with keeping the archer band on him. And Boyd is, yeah. So, one thing that I want to point out about this chapter, my strategy for it is going to vary quite a lot compared to how I normally play it, because I'm used to Boyd being a lot stronger here. He can generally handle the entire lower portion of the map if he's decently strong, but in this file, he went a couple of level ups without gaining strength or speed at all. Meanwhile, Oscar's actually a lot stronger than he usually is for me at this point, so I might end up relying on him a little more. Now, I'm actually going to have Titania go around here for now, just because there's a bunch of enemies over here that I want to eliminate quickly, because we might be in trouble if not. Let's just say that we have someone around here who may be a little weak and I don't want them getting attacked by a lot of enemies. Also, for that reason, Ike needs to go this way. You'll see why once the chapter begins. Okay, let's go. Now, I actually realized in an earlier attempt that I can't have Titania lure this archer, because let's just say someone's going to spawn from around here and they'll always be in range of that archer, so the archer will always go for them. I can, however... Okay, up there is where I need to go to kill off that soldier, which might not be a bad idea. Actually wonder if I can block that archer from shooting this character. I may be able to, actually. We'll have Titania, like, it will mean Titania has to move a bit further than I'd like her to this turn, but... might be able to lure you into dying to the short spear. Okay, now, with that aside, gonna lock in these ranges, because the enemies here have a bit more movement than you probably think they do, so I need to keep Soren out of their range. Now, let's see who I go for first. That boy doesn't double either of you. However, one Boyd attack plus Soren should be enough to finish one of them off. Soren getting hit by one enemy is probably fine. So yeah, Soren, you have to do 15, and you are. That's good. Also good to get a bit more experience for Soren because, yeah, he does get much, much stronger the higher his level gets. He has a pretty bad start, but I find he's not that hard to get leveled up a little bit. Speaking of which, this had better be good. That's, like, Soren's actually been getting pretty blessed for me in this run, and I'm okay with that, because he's going to be my main magic user. Okay, I could go here and have the bond support crit bonus. Okay, at least it doesn't mean I get double, but nah, I'm going to go for a regular attack here. I hope this looks decent for you, because, funny story, when I first played this game, it was on an old, well, not old, at the time it was actually a pretty decent CRT TV. Also, we have someone coming to join the fight here. Actually, maybe Titania didn't successfully block off that guy. Oh well, at least mean that I get rid of that one soldier. I basically just want to take a bit of pressure off of Ike and this other character up in that top part of the map. Because this other character is a little bit fragile. But I also need Titania to try and get to the western part of the map as quickly as possible, because there's soon going to be a thief there, and I'd like to intercept him before he gets to the chests. I actually did have to restart this chapter once, but only because, yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't quite in the right spot. But yeah, I had to restart only because the thief got into a position where I couldn't kill him before he looted 2 chests. But anyway, like I was saying, so I first played this game on an old CRT TV. In fact, I probably want to put that story on hold because I'm going to have to stop talking soon because amazing music is about to play. But yeah, on that TV, it was quite dark, and indoor maps looked just... That is really sad, even with a final disadvantage. But yeah, indoor maps were almost impossible to see with how dark the TV was. But I will continue this story later, because I'm gonna go quiet for a bit now. That song is so amazing! I'm sorry, I had to just stay quiet for that. I really like the recruitment theme in Sacred Stones, and I do really like Together We Ride, but that song, I love the Path of Radiance recruitment theme so much. I really miss when recruitment themes were like this. I don't know why this series has gone the way it currently has with the really subdued recruitment themes. I miss when they were bombastic and just triumphant sounding like that. Oh, also Mia. Yeah.
If I lose today, I'll train harder and win tomorrow. And if I lose tomorrow, I'll train even harder for the next day.
That's actually Mia's Radiant Dawn voice actress reprising her role in Heroes, by the way. Anyway, Mia is a fan favorite character, but I don't find her to be that good in this game. On the positive side, she does have very high base speed, so she'll be doubling almost everything early in the game. The problem is, her strength is not all that good, so she won't be doing a lot of damage. Even though a 40% strength growth is not bad for a Myrmidon, she only has a base of 7, so it's not going to go that high throughout the game. And she's also really let down by the fact that female swordmasters lose 2 to their strength cap compared to male ones, and unlike many other female classes, they don't have any extra speed to compensate. So even if you were to train Mia, there are swordmasters we get later on who hit harder and are just as fast. The only real thing Mia has over them is more luck, meaning that she dodge tanks better than they do at least. And that she's available earlier, I guess, but when your starting damage output is this weak and you can't use killing edges at base, early availability isn't that much of a bonus. There is one unambiguously positive thing I can say about Mia, however, and that's that her starting skill is awesome. It's Vantage. This skill causes you to always strike first on the enemy phase, but unlike all of its other iterations, it has no HP requirement in this game. Vantage always works, regardless of how healthy you are. Vantage also combos very well with a lot of the skills in this game. Other than the classic Vantage Wrath combo, you also have Vantage Guard, which can prevent enemies from ever hurting you if you're lucky, and Vantage Resolve, although you don't get the Resolve scroll until very late in the game. So starting out with an amazing skill like this is definitely something she has going for her. It really says something that you actually need to remove this skill to make room for Astra, and most people would advise that you not do that, because Vantage is just that good. Overall though, I prefer most of the other Swordmasters to Mia. Don't worry if you like her though, she's a lot better in Radiant Dawn, and I do mean a lot better. Mia also joins with the Sword Band, which is actually a lot less useful than you think it would be, because you'd think it would raise speed, but actually no, it raises skill and luck growths by 5%, which are generally considered 2 of the less useful stats in the series, although admittedly skill is pretty useful here because of certain skills, no pun intended, that rely on the skill stat. But luck is still probably one of the least useful stats, and A band that just raises skill and luck is not all that good. So I don't find myself using the sword band very much. Okay, Ike's got more defense than he usually does. And this guy right here with the javelin, I find that he's actually not that much of a threat to Mia. So he does 6 damage, which is not enough to kill her in 2 hits from this much HP that she has. And yeah, I like to have Mia get the chest key only because her inventory is a bit more free than everyone else's. But I guess I can go back to my earlier tangent about dark TVs. So I have this really awesome GameCube bag that I got back when the GameCube was still relatively new that is pretty much the perfect bag to hold the GameCube and all of its cables and even some controllers and games. So I used to use that to take my, seriously, stop showing off, you don't need to. I used that to take my GameCube to other people's houses, and at one point I brought my GameCube to my dad's house, and his TV was even darker than the one that I used at home, and so some of the later indoor maps, the whole map was just purple. You really couldn't see anything. It was pretty silly. Okay, now I really don't want Boyd getting hit by that fighter and all 3 of the soldiers, because, yeah, he will almost certainly die if that happens. Don't want Soren going there either, because then the archer will attack him, so I might have to pull back and retreat a little bit. Okay, so Boyd could go here, and I don't think the fighter would be able to attack him. Oh, and he needs to use this. Okay, then Oscar needs to be careful with the fighter for you as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Oscar has to go here, I guess. I don't like having to retreat this much on the lower part of the map, because I like to get in here as soon as possible, not just to kill the Armor Knights quickly, because they are the biggest obstacles to completing this chapter quickly, but also because I really want to stop that thief. We are going to have a little bit of help on the northern end of the map to try and kill the thief that way. Okay, how much does Steel Lance do? 14. As long as only one enemy gets to him. Yeah, I think Soren can safely go here and only get attacked by 1. But yeah, I just really don't want to miss killing this thief twice in a row. I already had to restart this map once because of that. This is why I like having Titania charge into the western part of the map quickly. But hopefully I can have her just go through the center part of the map and head off the thief that way. She usually doesn't double or one round the thief, but just weakening it even slightly is enough to finish it off with, let's just say, the extra health that we'll have on the top part of the map soon. Okay, the thief has only spawned 1 turn ago, so yeah. And getting rid of you early is probably useful as well. I like to have Titania kill the fighter though, but right now I don't think she's in a very good position to do that. Just definitely want that fighter gone, because he poses kind of a big threat to Boyd, thanks to his massive attack and Boyd's very low defense. Ike's actually been doing pretty well on this map, and I say that and he immediately dodges. Oh, okay, there was a javelin guy. Oh, great, I'm probably going to have to try and have Ike kill you or something. Or Titania could just kill you and then run. Yeah, because otherwise you're blocking... That guy is weird. He usually doesn't tend to attack. Oh, actually, wait. This is too wide. You're not blocking that way. So... Thieves do have 7 movement, the equivalent of promoted classes, so I'm going to have to... Actually, getting rid of you now might really help in the long run. But is that going to lure these 2 down? I don't think so. Ike is just off of killing me, though. Okay, this could actually be a problem, unless I use the short spear and try and lure this archer into going for Titania, which could happen. Even though that guy is guarding what appears to be a choke point, he does move out of it if there's something that he can attack. Of course, this would have been easier if I just equipped the short spear last turn, which I probably should have done. Which is kind of a thing with this game, well, any Fire Emblem game. Having a 1 to 2 range equipped is usually considerably better than not having a 1 to 2 range weapon equipped. Yeah, I need to make sure that archer can actually reach her. And that means I need to make sure that it doesn't get blocked off by any other enemy, but this should be fine. Now I'm a little concerned about this area. I can pick off that guy. But yeah, now both Boyd and Soren are kind of low on health, and I sort of need to... Yeah, like, I kind of need to heal both of them, but let's see how much damage you're doing. 14. Soren could get rid of that guy. But then we have 2 enemies here. I need to make sure that Rice is okay. It's kind of almost like a kind of a sliding puzzle of characters. I need to position them just right so that nobody gets killed here. Definitely need to heal Soren. And provided he doesn't go too crazy with Adept, he should be fine to get attacked by 1 enemy. The fighter might be dangerous. Let me just quickly check how much attack... Actually, wait, no, the fighter has 9 hit attack, which isn't as much as Soren's HP, so he'll survive regardless. I just need to make sure that... Obviously, that's a bad idea, so you need to go down here, and then... The Vulnerary will be exactly enough to fully heal you, so I shouldn't even... Well, 1 off fully healing you. Meanwhile, Ike will just finish off this guy with the Iron Sword, because I won round with anything, so I might as well use the weaker weapon. Though iron weapons are pretty practical later in the game, because often you still kill things even with them, and they have a lot more durability than the stronger weapons. Okay, Ike just got a weapon rank up, which means that I can talk about something. So, regarding S-rank weapons, which I was talking about in the in Chapter 5, there is actually a benefit to getting S-ranks in this game. With transfer bonuses, they get... And that's exactly what I wanted you to do, thank you. With transfer bonuses, you get a bonus to weapon rank in Radiant Dawn, depending on your weapon rank in Path of Radiance, so... Yeah, if you get an S rank in Path of Radiance, you can potentially take your starting weapon rank in the second game all the way from, like, C to A or something. It's a pretty considerable boost, which can definitely help. Okay, now here I really don't want Adept. Oh, I'm actually really nervous here, because if Soren gets Adept... Good, he didn't get Adept. If he got Adept there, he actually would have died. So... Yeah, sometimes you don't want certain skills to activate. But anyway, so that's one thing about weapon ranks. Now, another thing about weapon ranks, that it's one of the few aspects of Path of Radiance's interface that I really don't like. It's that there's no progress bar below weapon ranks on the status screen, so you can't see how close you are to the next weapon level up. There aren't many Fire Emblem games that are like this, and I just find it really annoying that Path of Radiance is one of them, because... There's a point later in the game where I really want Soren to have a C rank in Fire, at least, and knowing how close he is to that at... Well, that was weird. That didn't break, did it? No, I guess that archer is... Oh, it did break. Okay, that's why. I don't usually break the short spear this early, but I kind of needed to get rid of that first archer, because that's going to open things up next turn. That means I can much more easily kill this thief. Okay, now turn 4 is where things are about to change. Notice how there aren't that many enemies left? That's going to change soon. For now, though, let's have Mia grab this chest. Inside it we get an Armor Slayer. 8 might, which is doubled to 16 against armored units, which, given how much defense they tend to have, it's not really all that significant, especially considering that you've got weapon trial disadvantage against them, but it's better than nothing against them. Does have a massive amount of weight, though, as well, but later in the game you can usually use those without much penalty. Okay. Like I said, more enemies can be coming down there, so I might want some help on that front. I need to be careful not to press A and attack that guy, because that would be really stupid. But yeah, that last turn could have gone badly if Soren had activated Adept. In fact, has he activated Adept at all this playthrough? I'm not sure. But yeah, with a skill stat this low, it's not going to be happening all that often. He's kind of hogging a lot of experience at this point, but he needs to get out of his bad start, and that defense might help. He's definitely starting to reach the point where he might be one-rounding enemies with magic pretty soon. His wind tome is running a little low, but I'm not too worried about that, because that's going to change soon. Okay, yeah, I probably really need to heal Soren. I'm not doubling you? Huh. That's just not enough. I have to use this. Okay, that's annoying. I might have to try that. Because I have to heal Soren here. And that means you don't double Rice, do you? In fact, I think Reese is probably a better pronunciation, but anyway. 8 speed to his 5. That is just enough to not double him, but you're weighed down 1 point, so yeah, you're not doubling him regardless. So that's fine. Okay, if you miss here, you could, well, you have to miss both here and on the enemy phase in order to die, but you could very feasibly die. Though, the chances of this guy attacking Boyd and not Rice is kind of stupid. Actually, let me just check Rice's defense for a second. 1. Yeah, no, obviously he's going to attack him over Boyd, but still. 70 is pretty reliable with True Hit. Thankfully, those weren't famous last words. Good. Like I said at the start of this chapter, I normally have Boyd much stronger here, so I had to vary my strategy a lot for this one. That is one aspect of Fire Emblem games, though. Some people think the randomness of growth rates actually adds replay value, because oftentimes you'll have to change your strategy because of, yeah, I'd rather get rid of these 2 Armor Knights than try and kill that soldier. Oftentimes you have to change your strategy depending on what stat increases you got, but of course speedrunners tend to really hate that because usually they need certain people to gain very specific amounts of speed before very specific points in the game. That's why speedrunners love fixed mode, because even though it's not strictly fixed like its name implies, it is a lot more predictable than random mode, and it does mean that if you do the exact same actions, everyone will always get the exact same stat ups. So it makes things a lot more predictable for speedrun purposes. Okay, so that thief has already looted one of the chests, but I'm not too worried, because as long as I kill him next turn, I'll get that. And yeah, he swiped an item that I'm not really too worried about, but I like to get 100% of the chest in every chapter, so I'm gonna have to get it anyway. The Ward Staff is what I like to call the free experience staff. Technically, it just has the effect of raising the resistance of who it's cast on. But I find that magic has such a low might in this game and enemy mages are so weak that it's really not all that useful. I mainly just spam it to gain staff experience and staff ranks on healers. So here's where things are about to change a little. This happens on the end of turn 4. So are we finally getting a boss here? Let's see. And so Petrine goes on a very flowery speech that basically just amounts to you're all gonna die. 4 riders, that's interesting. First I'll let Soren explain what they are, and then I'll talk about a bit of translation trivia. So So like many Fire Emblem games, the big bad has 4 trusted generals. Here's the thing though, I feel like 4 riders was a bit of a translation screw up. It really should have been 4 horsemen. That would have been so much cooler, and it actually makes a lot more sense for this group. So yeah, I really wish it was translated as 4 horsemen, but yeah, they're the 4 riders in the English version officially. And oh yes, that terrible flame lance of arcane might. Yes, that's so scary. You'll see why I'm being sarcastic later on. However, sorry to tell you this, but the princess is actually probably in another castle because she was told to go for Gallia Castle. Yeah, we couldn't give her to you even if we wanted to. You fell for the simple diversion ruse and you call yourself one of Dayan's greatest generals. Unknown, I wonder who that could be. That said, this line is still pretty amazing. Yeah, Patrain pretty much is the generically arrogant early game boss, with one notable exception. Also, if you know that weapon from Heroes, you'll realize that soldier got massively overkilled. This is also a really great song, especially one specific part of it. And Ike's getting chewed out for being kinda stupid. Technically speaking though, Titania was the one who ran into the fort when it was obviously a trap. But at least things are going decently well. This bit of the song in particular, this is my favourite part of the song. Wording? Yeah, you could have worded that a bit better. I love that part. Dead men have no value, says the one who's obsessed with killing everyone here. But yeah, here's the explanation for that whole strong men line. It's more in the sense that Ashnard gathers people around the country for gladiator games. One really cool reference that I like in Ashnard's spot pass team in Awakening is that all of his random mooks have max strength, even on the lowest difficulty. You can probably see why I wasn't worried about that thief earlier. And by grab I can get out of here, we mean kill everything, because this is a route chapter. Nah, Grail's pretty much got this covered, like he always does. Notice Patrain's dialogue here. So she's first like, do you actually think I'm going to fall for that? And then... one line later, she's like, yep, I totally fall for it. Again, why are you such a high-ranking general? Why? And because of that, Patrain is not actually going to be the boss here. She's going to be lured into leaving the battlefield by Grail. Which, in my opinion, is a massive missed opportunity, because I really think that Patrain should have been the boss here. Also, yeah, Ike just runs back to whatever spot he was on the map before, which can make this cutscene pretty silly, depending on where Ike was on the map. And so we have some more enemies spawning. We also actually have a boss here, but it's not Patrain. It's a sage who actually has stats that are pretty equivalent to Soren, who's only not even a level 10 mage. Does have Hellfire though, which is kind of strong. Notice how it says Effect Beast there. That'll become important a little bit later. He also has the Mage Band. This raises the magic growth by 10%. It's, yeah, the only band that only raises one stat, but it does it by 10% rather than 5. I think it was a massive missed opportunity to have Petrine not be the fort here, basically. Because here's how I see it. Petrine's character, and I know this sounds really insulting, but it's true, Petrine's character is way too generic to be saved for the late game. She's really just that generic, arrogant early game general, and normally early on in Fire Emblem games, you fight a boss who is a decently high-ranking general, but not too high. Also, finally get to see you critting from the bond support. Who is a promoted enemy, but not all that strong, but usually stronger than what you've faced so far, and they're usually your first real, slightly tough opponent, but they're also your first significant opponent from a story standpoint, and wow, Void is getting so screwed in this playthrough. I'm glad I'm not using him here. But yeah, Petrine would have fit the bill there perfectly, and like I said, I just find her character too generic to be saving for later on, especially since I guess this is a slight spoiler as to how the plot goes, but after this chapter, Petrine pretty much vanishes from the plot until about chapter 19. So it's kind of a waste having her not die here, as cruel as that sounds. I feel like things just would have made a lot more sense if Petrine was the boss of this chapter and you'd fought and killed her here. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the issue. I mean, also there's the fact that, pretty infamously, by the time you actually do fight Petrine, she is very, very weak for how much she's played up in the story, and she's really not a challenge for your army at all at that point in the game. So yeah, for multiple reasons, it's a bit of a waste not to have Petrine be the boss of this chapter. Anyway, this thief needs to die now. The reason why he needs to die now is because in this game, if a thief swipes multiple items from chests, they only drop the most recent one they stole when they die. So if I don't kill him now... Oh boy. Gatry has to hit with a 73. Either that or Shinnon has to critical. So let's first go for the crit here. I may still have to restart this, and ironically the reason I had to restart last time was because Gatry missed with a 70-ish%. Okay, Gatry now has to hit, and now my heart is pounding because all of my effort so far may have been for nothing. And this is actually a pretty decent run of this chapter too. This is annoying, this is annoying. I hate this, I hate this. Please don't miss, Gatry, please don't miss! Please don't miss. I've already had to restart this chapter once. Thank you, Gatry! Good, okay. I'm fine now, because there are no more thieves. I don't have to worry at all about losing that other chest. Also, thieves are worth a lot, well, not a lot more, but they're worth slightly more experience than other enemies are, so at least Gatry gets a bit of experience here. Gatry hasn't gained strength in a few levels for me, which is kind of bizarre, but I will definitely take him gaining some more speed. He's already almost capped defense too. So we had that ward staff, and yeah, that guy's got the keys to that other chest. I'm totally fine with that, and it's turn 5. I believe the turn limit for maximum bonus experience here is 8 turns. So it's not that hard to make it. Oh, yeah, these 2 Armor Knights are a little annoying. That Archer is also a little annoying. Also, this mage down here drops a fire tome, so I'll want to give that to Soren. Is there a way that I can know? Wow, how high is... It's actually not even that high. Okay, I guess I'll take you out, because otherwise you'll... Then you might go for Shinnon, but they tend to prioritize not being counted, so... I'm gonna get rid of you now. I'm also pretty sure that the boss here doesn't move. And even if he does, he's not really all that strong. The enemies around the boss, though, they definitely do move. Oh, also there's an Armor Slayer there, but, so here's the funny thing. Armor Slayers, thanks to this game only using double might for effectiveness bonus rather than triple, Armor Slayers are not much of a threat. So, like, for example, 8 doubled is 16, which is exactly Gatry's defense. And with Weapon Triangle, then that's only 15. So, yeah, it does no damage to him. And it's supposed to be an armor-slaying weapon. That pretty much sums up why anti-anything weapons aren't all that great in this game. Okay, getting attacked by 2 of those guys, is that good for Ike, or... I feel like Ike will probably survive, actually. But I'll have him hovering around here just for now, because I would like Titania to weaken them a little bit first. Mia, though, she's pretty much done for the rest of this chapter, although she could use her chest key to open the other chest, because they do have 2 uses. I also personally feel that if you do find yourself in a situation where you need to get rid of an item to get the chest item, it's fine to throw away your chest keys here, because the next chapter that has chests will have a thief for. Titania will just thin out these enemies a little bit. Okay, 3 damage. And the Armor Slayer guy is going to get doubled by basically everything, because it's an incredibly heavy sword in this game. And this will just be a little bit of damage. This probably won't kill you, but we'll see. Titania might actually need healing. But yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to happen, because now I can maybe finish off one of them with Ike and his Regal Sword. We'll see. Yeah, definitely need healing. Well, I mean, Ike will certainly finish off that one with the Regal Sword. He might even be able to finish it off without a Regal Sword. Okay, yeah, you can attack Oscar. I almost called him Oswin for a second there. It's funny, once I was just looking at a list of name meanings, and I found that both names have a similar origin. Like, they both mean victory to some extent. Or they're both derived from words for victory. You still have your full complement of HP. That's not good. Yeah, you have so much health that Soren can't really kill you. However, yeah, Oscar can finish that guy off. Then I might just move him back a bit to plug this area, and maybe go for a bit of a bond support bonus on Boyd. I will need to heal Oscar, though. Another level up. Finally no magic, but wow, Oscar's actually being really decent for me. Yeah, when I was saying about Boyd, it's a good thing I'm not using him. For Oscar, it's a shame I'm not using him. Usually happens the other way around in most of my playthroughs. Usually Oscar gets pretty screwed and Boyd ends up amazing, but, oh yeah, also Hammer, but that gets Boyd doubled, so not gonna go for that yet. I mean, Boyd really shouldn't be getting doubled by these guys, but... Okay, so that'll be 14 and 10, yeah. Even if I attack this guy on my phase, Boyd should survive, but yeah, Boyd really shouldn't be getting doubled by these guys at all. He should actually be doubling them, but for some reason, I've had this horribly RNG-screwed Boyd, which is actually going to hurt me a lot, because, my main strategy for the next chapter revolves around me having Boyd block one choke point in particular. Okay, Soren doesn't instantly die to you, that's good. Oh, actually, yeah, you gotta be careful here. So, some walls in this game are big enough that you can't attack from range over them. Watch out for that. For now, though, I'll just have Soren finish this guy. Then I'll have him take the Fire Tome, I think. But yeah, some walls will block ranged attacks, so you'll need to keep an eye on that. Okay, now you have 16 attack, and then you've got... you have... Yeah, you're not going to get doubled either. Yeah, definitely not going to get doubled. Actually, now I guess I could show off the men's staff, because it'll heal one more than this one would. Has a kind of impressive animation. Yeah, there's only map animations for staves in this game, not, like, actual battle animations for them. Even with the Iron Sword, you'll finish this guy off, but I'd rather not get a counterattack. And I might need to have Titania either use a healing item or run for a bit, because she is actually starting to get a bit weak. As you can no doubt tell. Ah, yes, Gatry actually is doubling this guy. That's pretty cool. And these guys... Yeah, I had a feeling Gatry would double you even with a Steel Lance. And how much does Shinin do? Yeah, he doesn't actually kill you even with a critical, but... Wonder if I should just put Gatry here, and because that way... Yeah, he'll be able to finish off both of them in the next turn. Because the Armor Knights are the main impediments to routing this chapter quickly. Which, for some reason, sounds like I'm planning out a speedrun, but in Australia we pronounce that as route, not route, so I always find it kind of weird when I hear people say route, like Route 1 in Pokemon, things like that. And Shinin kills you anyway, which is convenient because he's standing right next to the chest. So how's your inventory looking? Chest key, do you have, yeah, you probably have enough space. Yeah, so Rice is gonna get attacked there. Shouldn't matter too much, though. Exactly enough to kill that guy, which is pretty good. And that Steel Sword guy is going to get doubled by Ike, so... Because, yeah, any enemy with a steel weapon at this point in the game usually gets doubled by everything. That changes later on, but by that point, everyone on your side will just have so much speed that you never have to worry about whether or not you double something ever again. That is... I'll be talking about that much, much later, but that's, in my opinion, one of the main weaknesses of this game. It just gets so easy because enemy stats are very clearly not scaled to how high yours get. This is a game where almost everyone has amazing growth rates, and almost everyone ends up insanely strong by the end of the game, and the enemy stats are just not made to compensate for that at all. In fact, they're some of the weakest late-game enemies in the entire series. So, past the halfway point, this game tends to get incredibly easy. I'd argue this game is even easier than Sacred Stones. A lot of people like to say, oh yeah, Sacred Stones is the easiest game in the series. Well, I mean, you know, technically speaking, Grinding Awakening is by far easier, but yeah. But a lot of people like to label Sacred Stones as one of the easier games, but I think Path of Radiance is easier. For reasons that I'll be discussing in the next part, because we unlock access to something that makes it considerably easier. In fact, something that I promised to talk about in this chapter. Listen closely. This is totally unrelated, but the sound effects that Armor Knights make in this game when they walk, this is the thing that I was talking about. You know, I kept saying that there's something about Armor Knights that I wanted to say, and I've been waiting until this chapter to do it. So, the sound they make when they walk, that's where I'm only doing 2 damage to something I have weapon triangle advantage with the Void. I mean, seriously, this is like the worst Void in the history of the world. At least I have the hammer, but... But yes, the sound effect that Armor Knights make in this game when they walk is actually where I got my channel name from. Soren's just hogging so much experience here, but I guess he is technically lower level than Oscar, so I can probably do this. But yeah, when they move, and I might describe this in more detail when Gatry starts moving. So yeah, you might know, my username is Big Clingy. It's not actually pronounced Clingy, it's Clingy. And this is really silly, but it's just an in-joke from my childhood. So, I've explained this in another video, but probably not in an actual series. And now's the perfect time, because this is actually where it originated. So these Armor Knights, when they move, the sound their armor makes, my onomatopoeia for that was clingy, 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 clingy. And from that, I nicknamed Armor Knights Clingies. And from that, I nicknamed Generals Big Clingies. So that's actually where my username comes from. It was my child self slang for the general class, based on the sound they make when they walk in this game specifically. So, yeah, now you know where that comes from. I really need to heal Titania, but I also need to get her up to the top part of the map. Gonna go for the main staff here. And yeah, those three are the only ones left. So Oscar can get going up here. Like I said, I don't think the boss moves, but I really don't want to find out the hard way. Even then, though, Ike's resistance is actually decent. Oh, that's a javelin. Of course it would be a javelin. Might actually just give Ike an Armor Slayer here, just in case I need it. I probably don't, but... Wait a minute. Nah, you couldn't have shoved Ike anyway. Yeah, if I had shoved Ike, I could have got him in range of that guy, but, you wouldn't have been able to regardless. Okay, I guess it's time to find out if the boss moves. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, I think I remember that. None of them move. Okay, I may have to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually will have to shove Ike, and at this point... 6, 10... You can shove Ike, though. Okay, so first I might have to save Shinnon. Actually, no, I have to have Shinnon unlock that chest. Almost forgot about that. I'm not too bothered if I don't get the maximum bonus experience, but I really want to because I could very easily do it here. So that's 1 out of 3. Yeah, I would like to show off Ike's special boss quote, but I might not get the chance to. 7 defense. I wonder if Ike can actually one-round kill him. He has a decent amount of HP. So just in case Ike gets shoved... Let me try something. This is probably not going to work. Because I don't think you'll be doubling with this. No. If I don't get to show off Ike's special boss quote here, it's really no big deal. It's actually a pretty basic one. In fact, I think I remember it just off the top of my head. So, Ike just says, "So you're a mage, huh?" And then the boss says, "I am, and I will see you burn to cinders." That's it. It's really not a particularly interesting boss conversation. In fact, can I do this turn? Wait a second. I won't even be able to, finish you off that way. In fact, I might not be able to do it this turn. That's unfortunate, but I'll only be losing a little bit of bonus experience. If I'd opened the chest with Shinnon earlier in the chapter, then I might have been able to do it. By the way, the item we got out of that chest, that's the Miracle Scroll. And what's this base that it mentions? Well, we'll be getting introduced to that very soon. The boss doesn't double Ike with that, right? That lowers my speed by 6, so, that would put me at 5 speed, and you have 11 speed, which is reduced by 3. That'd be 8 versus 5, which actually the boss does not double Ike with that. That being said, though, you only have 14 attack against Ike's 5 resistance, so Ike only takes 9 damage from you anyway. Sorry if I can be a little bit indecisive sometimes about... Well, I didn't need to worry anyway. I was kind of hoping that would happen. Okay, so now it's just the boss left. And let's see how accurate I was with that quote. Okay, so I missed Vermin and I missed Woe, but other than that, I got this quote exactly right. Sages actually look pretty cool in this game, though. I love the class design of them here. And there's one thing that I don't like about Sages, and that's that female Sages, yeah, they all use a generic model, and it's palette swapped from one specific female Sage, even though that look doesn't make sense for the other female Sage. Now let's see if Ike would have been able... Ike doesn't even double him anyway. Okay. Well, I mean, Titania does double him with that, but... No, Soren's not going to be able to get to him, because even with shoving, he's not going to be able to get there, so let's just do that. And here's generic line. I don't think anyone's worthy of her attention, actually. But this guy is kind of just a crash course in why enemies... Oh, finally counter! Which actually killed you, okay then? Counter actually made a difference for once! I never thought I'd see the day! Okay then. For my first activation of counter in this whole playthrough, that was actually pretty good. And something I find funny is that you still have the option to counter with a mounted unit after you've killed the last enemy in a route chapter, even though it's unlikely that'll mean anything. So, I'm going to do something a little weird. I'm going to end this video now and do all of the cutscenes after this chapter in the next part, because there are some pretty long cutscenes coming up and some pretty important ones, and they would make this video run on incredibly long if I kept them in. So, next part is going to be just the cutscenes for the end of this chapter, and some from the start of the next one. Because some pretty important things are about to happen. Now, I really hope you don't dodge, because I need you gone so I can get rid of the thief easily next turn. Of course that would happen. Because Shinnen doesn't actually double that guy. That's actually really bad. I might have to restart this chapter because of that. Or that archer could just move and expose the thief to being attacked. Yeah, nice job, Archer. One exception is in Thracia, where magic and resistance are combined into one stat, so the ward staff effectively raises your magic stat for both offense and defense. Which also means that you can, like, I think it's required to have enough magic to put certain bosses to sleep as well. Oh no. Oh, okay, oh yes, you have a javelin. Please die, thank you. Yeah, that guy could have potentially restored the block choke point, but then he got killed by Shinnen, so yeah. Okay, first things first, I have to make sure that I kill the thief now. Yeah, 13 speed, Shinnen does not have enough to double him. Oh, no, Gage doesn't have enough movement to get to the thief! Well, yeah, this is pretty much... Shinnen has to crit here or I have to restart. That's a shame. Because Gatry does not one-shot the thief. Yeah, 22 attack versus 3. That is 1 damage off Gatry one-shotting you. So, yeah, even if Shinnen killed that archer and then Gatry attacked, I need Shinnen to crit. That is the only way that I can do this. And no. Yeah, I've lost that other chest. All because I missed that archer. So that's kind of a weird way to be getting my first fail channel for this playthrough, but yeah.